folks, we got a great one for you today. I have with me Brent Lessard. Oh, look at him, man. You're right. I don't recognize you, man. Wait a minute. I'm supposed to be interviewing a guy named Brent, man. Who is this?
I'll find him for you.
Yeah, go look for him. Hey, what's been up, brother?
Hey, I'm doing very well, Uncle G. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing about as well as can be expected, man, with all this crap going on, you know, between COVID and all of that. How's it going out there?
Yeah, it's well. I think it's been an interesting 4 or 5 months now. But the number of cases that we've had here has died down. They've moved into later stages. You know, you got to wear a mask anywhere indoor public spaces right now. But for the most part, everything else is open, and you know, life goes on.
Okay, so you guys are like mandatory masks when you're going to different places and stuff like that?
Yeah, just like indoor places, you need to wear a mask. That's only been a few weeks now.
Okay.
That it's been like that, but everything's open. Malls are open again.
Bars are open?
Bars are open. At least the patios are. I've not been inside. I don't know if
yeah.
you can sit inside or not, but you know, parking lots are being occupied by bars as makeshift patios to expand capacity. So
okay, yeah. So there's tents everywhere. Don't you wish you were in the tent business?
Yeah. Good time to be in the gazebo business.
Yeah, I messed up on that one, man. Well, hey, I'm so glad to have you on here, man. Finally, you know, yeah, I know you're a real busy guy, and I've been back and forth. You know, I kind of hurt myself, man. I've been down for like almost 2 weeks, man. I was moving some items from the office into the warehouse to set up a bigger podcast area, and I was picking up my desk, and I turned the wrong way and kind of twinged something in my back. And, you know, it just a little twinge. It wasn't that bad. And then a couple of days later, man, I mean, I was screaming and hollering, just trying to walk across the room. Yeah. So, you know, I stayed off of it for about a week, and until finally I just had to go into the hospital and went to the ER. That was really a trip. Last place you want to go nowadays is to a hospital, you know, with this COVID thing going on. The hospital was on total lockdown, complete lockdown.
Yeah.
You know, they checked me out, make sure I didn't have anything. But the funny thing about it is that when I finally made it to the ER, there was 5 people in the ER waiting to be seen. They were all there for the same reason. They were hanging around the house, doing some work around the house, turned their back. And,
yeah.
So I thought that was kind of strange, you know. So I even brought it up to the doctor. I'm like, you know, everybody in there is in here for the same reason. And she laughed and said, yeah, we're getting about, you know, 10 of you guys every day.
That's so funny because everyone is at home and suddenly they have time to work on those, you know.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky because I just kind of listened in like the fly on the wall, man. And it was the honeydews, you know, all of these guys.
Yeah.
They were bitching and moaning too. Oh, man, she wanted me to do this. And as I started painting it, oh, there I go. Yeah. So that's it, man. So
yeah, that's funny. I can empathize. We've been clearing out a lot of stuff around the house here too.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed some mild back pain, but not enough to bring us to the hospital, surely.
Well, you're a young guy, though. You know, you know, put 30 more years on that back, man, and see what it feels like. Little stuff start feeling heavy, you know.
Yeah. But my daughter had like an intestinal issue towards the end of May, and we were admitted to the hospital actually for 7 days or 8 days.
I kind of recall that. I think I was in contact with you during that time. We were going to do the podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's right.
Yeah, that's how long it's been. We've been trying to get together to do this.
Yeah.
So how's your daughter doing now?
She's great now, but yeah, it was no big issue. You know, they didn't have to do any invasive surgery or anything, but they wanted to monitor her over the course of a few days, and because it was intestinal, they had her on just IV, no foods,
Right.
or anything over that time, just so they could monitor, whatever was going on. So difficult, just generally having your kid in the hospital.
Yeah.
But it was just like compounded by the COVID stuff. It was, total lockdown. We were basically stuck in that room for 7 or 8 days. And it had to be myself or my wife. They wouldn't let both of us in the hospital at the same time.
Wow.
Because they were wanting to minimize the number of people inside the hospital. So even when we switched, I think I did 4 days in the hospital, and my wife did 3. But even when we switched, we had to do it outside of the hospital. So I had to leave her in the room, run outside, tap my wife in.
Tag team, yeah.
Yeah. And
but wait, and then they holler at you and say, wait, got to take your temperature first. Okay, yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah.
You can go in.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. So
I bet that was. Now, was that the youngest, or because you have 2 children?
Oldest,
yeah. How's the baby doing?
Very good. Also interesting, and it's been, really interesting. 8 or 9 months. In December, Jack, who's the youngest, got pneumonia in both of his lungs.
No way.
Yeah, on like December 23rd, right before
Christmas.
So he spent a few days in the hospital. So when the whole COVID thing started, the doc said, because of the pneumonia and it's a respiratory issue, we'd consider him high risk. You really need to isolate and, make sure everybody's make sure everybody's staying, limiting exposure. So, but otherwise, everyone's fine now. We had a couple bumps in the road over the past 9 months or so.
Yeah, that makes for a long 9 months, and more hospital than you'd never ever really want to see in 9 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure. So, I didn't even get a proper introduction, man, when I first started this.
The space is looking great, though.
What is looking great?
Your space.
The spot that I put together?
Yeah.
You liking that, man?
It looks amazing.
Hey, how do you like this over here? Wait a minute. You see that up on the rack up there?
It looks like a half car.
It is a half a car.
It is a half a car.
Yeah, I put this big, humongous hoist in here, a lift, because I'm once the COVID came down, man, I had to really tell myself, man, if you're going to do it, man, you're going to do it. If you're not going to do it, you'll never do it. So you might as well get started getting it done. So that's the stinking Lincoln up there. That's the 63. Let's see if I can get a better shot of it up there. Let's see. It's up there, though. Yeah, so it's up there, and I just got to do some brake work to it, and I have a power steering pump that I need to fix, and then I'll pull that down and then put the vet up there and get that vet finished and get it gone and done. But
where's the other half, though?
The other half is almost out the door, man. This car is like 24 feet long, man. That's a Lincoln Continental with suicide doors. You know the one.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the blue is the center post. So the other is all the way over there. I can't even see the back end from where I'm at. So.
Oh.
Yeah, so I wanted to make sure if I was going to be doing the podcast that at least, if I'm saying I'm doing it in Zombieland, then hell, let's do it in Zombieland. I was instead of the office. So the office is no more. So anyway, hey, let's talk rLoop, man. What's been going on?
Oh wow,
Eh?
Yeah. It's been super interesting year. A lot has happened. We've launched a few new projects, continued to mature several existing projects, and lots of new and interesting things on the horizon as well. So, we picked up the work product and intellectual property from Arrivo. which you know because you've got
wait a minute.
banners right there below the link.
Wait a minute. Look below the link, and there it goes. You see it?
Yeah.
It says Arrivo over there.
Yeah, I can see that. You've got several of the pieces there.
Oh, I got a couple of real big pieces here. Trust me, man. That take up a whole bunch of area over here, so you can't see it from where it's at. And that's interesting that you mentioned Arrivo, because I really wanted to talk to you about Arrivo.
Okay.
As we're moving forward, we have it bad here, because of administration and the belief that this isn't real. We're endeavoring to persevere. That's the best we can do here, but we do believe that there'll be a regime change real soon. And the talk is that the only way we're going to get out of this is with a new deal. Now, for those of my international friends that are out there, when in 1939, the United States was in a Great Depression, and we ended up with a new president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who figured out the way to get us out of this depression was to put everybody to work, but not necessarily to go back to the job you had. In most cases, they couldn't. Most of those jobs were gone. So let's engineer our own jobs, but let's not do the same thing. Let's move forward and do big industrial things. And that's when the Hoover Dam was built as part of the New Deal, one of the largest constructions ever. That's when we started making our first nuclear power plants, and redoing our roads, putting freeways in where people have never seen freeways before.
Infrastructure, right?
Yeah, and what we're talking about here is that when this is over, that the only way we're going to get back is to invest in future technology. We're going to spend a lot of money, but we're not going to just talk about technology anymore. It's time to actually move forward and improve on everything that we have now. Don't throw money into the same old thing, And if I'm not mistaken, the Arrivo thing is kind of interesting, because if I'm not mistaken, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, Arrivo's technology is kind of like a stopgap in between what we would see as a Hyperloop. This is a propulsion system for existing trains. Is that correct?
So it is correct in the sense that it's a stopgap between what we have today and a full Hyperloop system. I think it abstracts some of the complexities away from a full Hyperloop system. Mm-hmm. So, for example, it's not a tube. It's not a tube system in which we're creating a vacuum. That's a massive challenge from an infrastructure and construction perspective. Mm-hmm. We've basically tried to minimize that complexity and focus on intra-city, intra-regional travel. So where the Hyperloop would connect cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco, the Arrivo concept is more around, connecting Los Angeles itself to itself. And so it is, it incorporates some of the architecture from the Hyperloop, levitation, propulsion, and controls. But we removed some of the challenges around, creating a interconnected tube system, holding those at a partial vacuum, and controlling that environment. Basically, we get rid of that. We lose some of the, speed that the full Hyperloop promises, but it's still more than double the speeds that we're seeing today from other intra-regional travel options. So,
okay, so let's take California here. We have, we tried to do the high-speed rail, and they went with a company that embezzled all of the money to the tune of $22 billion seed money, and never built anything. I think there's something like 12 miles of freeway that goes nowhere that they were going to run this high-speed rail on. Uh, now, this would be a good alternative over the rail that we were doing, or this is sort of like a high-speed rail also, isn't it?
Yeah, I forget. There's a minimum threshold of speed that's required to be considered high-speed rail. This concept is certainly above that, but it's more, the experience is intended more to be kind of like an elevator rather than a train.
Okay.
It's small packetized vehicles, you know, kind of bus-sized vehicles,
Okay.
with a main line that's always running at speed being somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 to 400 kilometers an hour. I don't know how that translates to miles per hour.
That's okay. I'm going to break out with my calculator when this is all over, so I'll know what the hell you're talking about. I mean, a kilometer is 1.6, I think. Well, that's about the same. About the same, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah.
See, I'm learning, man, hanging around you guys. Oh, you smart dudes. I still can't tell you the answer, but I know it's 1.6, whatever it is. So.
But yeah, so I think I believe it's in the range to be considered high-speed rail.
Okay.
But its major benefits or features would be, on top of high-speed travel, is on-demand service, high throughput, which is something that I think a full-scale Hyperloop system struggles with, as well as, you know, efficiency gains and reduction of carbon emissions as well, it being a fully electric system.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Now, is this a type of technology that could, you know, when I look at it, you know, I see the maglev, right? And I'm thinking to myself, what if you took that maglev system and put it on an existing train? I mean, pull the diesel engine out, pull all of those big bulky wheels.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a locomotive before, and trust me when I tell you that the only thing in a locomotive is engine. Normally like two of them, and they're ungodly. They're massive. They are absolutely massive, right? But if you had something like this where you could scrap that and put that underneath it, and then you would have to add something to the track, of course, as a conductor. Is that a possibility with this technology where you can use it just for the propulsion of a train and let the rest of it just pull along?
In a sense, you can. But if you were to think of, you know, the reason with trains that they have those massive engines is they're pulling
a lot of shit.
They're pulling a lot of the other cars that aren't powered.
Exactly.
But if you were to rather break those cars apart, instead of it being, you know, a convoy or an attached convoy,
right.
If each of them had a propulsion and levitation system like that, then that is kind of what the Arrivo vision would be. So instead of one massive engine car that's pulling the rest, each of them have their own. They can be much smaller. And then you can still form those convoys, but they're not physically attached. They're just, you know, platooning
with each other. So
yeah.
one's not depending on the other one to pull it where it needs to go.
That's right. But if they platoon closely together, they benefit from reduced drag. Yeah.
Wow. Now, see, that's interesting. That's why we need to get on this stuff and show it to the people that be when that time comes. I truly believe, Brent. Brent, I truly believe that when we're out of this, that there's going to be contracts, man, left and right, and it's all, at least here. You know, the United States is behind the curve on a lot of stuff. Always have been. You know, it's our bureaucracy. But we could also be the largest client. whenever we get off the pot and just go ahead and just go forward with something. I think the way things are right now, in the next year to 2 years, we're gonna move forward on a whole bunch of stuff that it probably would have took us 10 years prior to this, you know.
Yeah, I think I'm generally hearing the same, you know, up here on this side of the border.
It makes sense.
Yeah, getting us out of the economic slump, expect investments in infrastructure and spending in infrastructure. And so what's really interesting, I think, to put you know, a top hat on this Arrivo discussion, is that one of the major benefits or features of the system is increasing the usage of that infrastructure. So, you know, a lane of rail, for example, is quite low in terms of its actual utilization rate. And roads even aren't fantastic. You know, for a kilometer of road, only something like 20% of it is in use at any given point in time. So part of the desire for the Arrivo system is to increase that capacity 10 times. So imagine in one lane of road, if it instead had the capacity of 10 lanes of road, you know, it only occupies the physical footprint of one lane, but it has the capacity to manage 10 times the amount of traffic.
In the same amount of space.
Yeah, so if you've got 6 lanes on, you know, the what's the highway there?
The largest one here would be like the 405 freeway.
Okay, right.
And
so
it gets up to like 6-7 lanes at times.
Right. So if it was 6 lanes, if you converted those 6 lanes to Arrivo lanes, they would be equivalent to suddenly 60 lanes.
Now, how would that work with private vehicles?
So the interesting thing in this model is that you essentially create a sled, and you can adapt that sled for a variety of different purposes. One of the early designs and purposes was that you could drive, it would essentially be a land ferry for your personal vehicle.
No way. You're talking like a conveyor belt on a freeway where, okay, so I'm in my car.
That's a very good analogy.
I'm in my stinking Lincoln. Okay, so I'm here at this red light, and all of a sudden, okay, the light is clear, and I can make the left-hand turn and get onto the conveyor belt. And then I just go ahead and just kick back and let them shoot me down the road.
Yeah. To keep with the analogy we were using before, if you could drive your car onto a train car, and then that train car delivers you in proximity to wherever your final destination is, and then you still have your private car, right? You drive off and you're in the stinking Lincoln.
Dude, yeah, and everybody would do it, man. Everybody.
Yeah, but when you're on there, you're doing 350 kilometers an hour. Yeah. There's no traffic because, again, it's an elevator-like experience. You know, you get on, you press where you're going, and the elevator goes there. There's no stops in between. You're not waiting on other people getting on or off the conveyor belt. That's the kind of crux of the Arrivo system.
Wow, that's pretty.
But its optimal range is, you know, limited. It's more for a city, for a region, and connect those regions together. Where the Arrivo is it's more like a flight experience.
Right. And
from one city to the next.
And you bring in your car.
On the Arrivo system.
Yes, on the Arrivo system.
Yeah.
And you bring in your car. So
yeah.
As long as you bring in your car, Californians, they'll be happy.
Right, exactly.
You got to bring your ride, man.
Yeah, and then, you know, if you're investing in that infrastructure and building it, you're not forcing people to use anything that they wouldn't normally use. You know, they can bring their personal vehicle on. So
Right.
they can share that infrastructure with, you know, a train or a freight system kind of thing.
Right.
So that's how you get that, you know, tenfold capacity of what a normal lane or a normal set of rail tracks would offer you.
And with that type of technology, it would be more set up, like you said, connecting cities. Los Angeles to San Francisco, Los Angeles to San Diego, Los Angeles to Las Vegas, where you just go to the Arrivo stop and get on the conveyor belt, let them shuttle you out there, shuttle back.
Yeah, so it would be like, you know, you start off with a single route. So some major landmark in LA to another major landmark on the other side of LA.
Las Vegas, man, Las Vegas. That's where they just built the new Raiders Stadium.
Right.
And yeah, and they're building this globe, man. I don't know if you know about this, man. It's called the Sphere, but it is going to be a massive round sphere that is going to be all video panels, and they can project whatever they want, including satellite projections of the Earth. So,
and you're on the inside, or you're looking at the sphere from the outside?
Well, it's in the inside. It will actually be a venue, a concert venue, with all kind of other stuff in it. But on the outside, they project whatever they feel like projecting. And so if they want to project the Earth in real time, you'll actually be looking at the Earth like if you were from up there at the space station looking down, you know.
Yeah.
Really trippy. Awesome. And it's going to be humongous, really big. You should be able to see this as you drive into Vegas. It's like, oh, look, there's the Earth sitting right there on Caesar Highway. What the hell's going on here? You know?
Yeah, last time I was in Vegas was with you.
Yeah.
For Autodesk University a couple years ago.
Yes, and we had a great time. I was happy to be out there with you guys. You know, I would like to put on that same presentation with the Hyperloop one day here at City Hall. You know, or bring it to Amtrak. You know, even if they're not investing right away in the technology, it's important for them to see it, because out of sight is out of mind. And I believe that when we come out of this, they're going to be open to just about any and everything. You know, show them, and they're going to be looking for something new, cutting edge. You know?
Yeah, I think what a large part of the skepticism that you encounter sometimes is that there isn't anything like full scale that exists already, you know, anywhere.
Right.
And that, you know, is very fair to be a challenge for people. So I agree with you entirely. I think it's very important to be able to demonstrate the tech and be able to give people an opportunity to interact with it. Because like you said, you know, if you see it, if you feel it, if you experience it,
you understand it.
Yeah, you understand it, and you can, you know, relate to it better. You can put yourself there. You can picture it. You can feel it. So it's super, super important that there is that connection between people, between decision makers, and between you know, technology and the people who are creating that technology.
Right. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Hey, we missed you for our flight. I think that's when your kid was your child was sick, man. We had a great time though.
Yeah, that was another one. You know, we started off talking about rLoop and certainly the accomplishments of those guys on the rFlight project has been amazing. To pull the vehicle together and then to pull, you know, bring the team together at NASA's Moffett Field, California there was pretty amazing. And yeah, you know, I really wanted to be there, and had to last minute make the call not to come.
Yeah.
But it was great to see everybody who was able to go. There were several countries represented amongst our team.
There were. Unfortunately, no one was able to win the grand prize, but that just opens the door for next year. So, you know, you do it bigger and better. And I, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same way it happened over here at SpaceX with the Hyperloop. I mean, the very first competition, no one hit any of the numbers they were looking at. You know.
Yeah, even to this day. I mean, you know, so this is why it is, you know, those kinds of events are important to allow people to experience the technology and relate to it. The actual fastest speeds achieved by a Hyperloop vehicle was at, I think, the third or maybe the fourth Hyperloop competition.
Yeah, the very last one, I think.
So it's not the companies who are spending millions of dollars to develop the tech that have achieved that. It's student teams incentivized by a competition using infrastructure that was built by SpaceX.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. In that first competition, there was a much more kind of holistic view of the scoring and of the competition, you know, so they were incorporating stuff like safety, you know, accommodations for passengers, in terms of comfort levels, you know, actual comfort within the vehicle. So while you were riding, you know, vibrations were important, noise was important. So there was a much broader look at the scoring. But when they got into the later competitions, it was just speed.
Yeah, it's just hey, who can do this?
Yeah.
Like, out of hell with that. Don't worry about them seatbelts. Leave that crap. Yeah, as a matter of fact, in the first one you had to. I remember we had a dummy, right? That had to ride in the thing in the first one. I was like, who's that guy? Al Davis. I think that's what we had named him. So.
Yeah, but you know, you get
guy that was hanging up.
Yeah, they put. You know, they put the challenge forward, who can go the fastest, and the teams responded. And, you know, they're not spending millions of dollars and they don't have people working on it full time. They are passionate and motivated, you know, students and, you know, new thinkers and new leaders who are getting creative and getting innovative and, you know, thinking outside of the box to be able to, you know, meet that challenge that SpaceX put forward in speed. So they're the ones who've got the fastest speeds, at least for a Hyperloop vehicle to date.
Can you imagine all of those guys they've all graduated by now if they were at the first competition. So now they're out there in the real world. I bet they would long to be in a group for another competition, because I know that had to be so impressionable on them as young engineers and young techies, you know, to be part of something like that.
It's such a rewarding experience, man. It's like, you know, you get to work with these super brilliant people, and everyone's like really driven to, you know, impress and to you know, do the best in the competition. And but there's still like between the teams, it was generally still you know, very collaborative and amicable amongst everyone. It wasn't like, you know, some cutthroat do anything to win kind of thing. It was everybody had the same kind of vision and objective ultimately.
Right.
So we had calls, you know, with other teams. I know, you know, there were like shared groups where people could chat and exchange information. You know, you hosted there at Zombieland.
Yeah.
Groups of the students who all came together to chat, you know, you know,
they had the rap party here a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You look up and all of a sudden people were coming in with like designer water. I'm like, what the hell? Who brought designer water? Where's the beer? You know? Go back to the store, get your money back, man. Go get some Miller. You know.
But yeah, it's funny you say that because I crossed paths with someone who I didn't met, but at the time I had not met. But it turns out he was at the first Hyperloop Comp at SpaceX with one of the teams. And subsequently it started a micro-mobility company. So like working on electric scooters, electric like mopeds, and then looking forward to getting into electric motorcycles and electric cars. And it was a startup that was, you know, successful and had some early success with their launch. And we were chatting about that, and then we found out that we were both at the Hyperloop competition together.
And he was did he come to Zombieland?
I don't think he did.
Oh,
I don't think he did. Yeah, he didn't.
Then he was not with the Irish team. Here's for the Irish. There you go.
Definitely was not with the Irish team. Cheers.
Cheers to the Irish.
Yeah.
They were rowdy.
So you still got the black wall with all the.
Yeah. And that wall really grew. You know, I'm still under, you know, like court order to do some demoing in here and all of this stuff. I thought they forgot about me, but they didn't. It was just a COVID. But I let them know that, yeah, sure, not a problem. I'll go ahead and do that. But I'm just going to take those walls and just turn them around and put them on the walls, because I'm not getting rid of the wall. For those that don't know what wall we're talking about, when you come in here as a member of rLoop, you get to write on the wall, and most of it is in invisible fluorescent ink. And so when I turn on the black lights in that hallway at night, and that's normally my night light, it's like you guys just pop out. I mean, all over the place. It's, you know, you walk past it during the day, you don't really see that much. You see the names that are up there. There are some names, but as soon as you turn on that black light, man, that thing just, whoa, damn.
You must have dozens of countries.
Yes. It's well represented over there. And then we added to it with the R flight and put some memorabilia that we picked up in Moffett Field, which I don't know if you heard the story, but that was one of my first duty stations in the Navy.
Oh, no way.
Dude, man, I actually was on the flight line next to the largest hangar in the world that I used to work at when I first joined the Navy as a aviation structural mechanic hydraulic technician. And
wow.
all of a sudden, I'm, you know, here it is, literally, that was 1978. And I'm walking around on Moffett Field. It just blew me away. And they have a museum there. And I went into the museum and walked around and saw the names of some of the people that have perished in the line of duty in the P-3 Orion, which is the aircraft that I was trained on. And that was like where you went to learn about the P-3 Orion. And I saw the name of one of my very, very good friends up on the board. I got a little misty, but it was still there, man, after all them years. Dude,
wow.
Dude went down in the Arctic Circle in 1979. And it was still up there, man. It was really blew me away. And I was able to pick up some patches and some books showing the platforms that I worked on. It was a great experience for me. I was really it was almost zen, you know, to see the place, you know, after all of those years. So
I can imagine. Yeah, I really wish I had been there.
Next year.
That was Feb 29. So that was Leap Day was the actual event.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it was fortunate that some of our international colleagues who were there were able to fly home, because it wasn't long after that all these travel restrictions popped up.
Less than a week.
Yeah.
Less than a week, they would have got stuck here. And Valley came back down here with me, and I think he left maybe about 2 or 3 days before they put travel restrictions out.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's the timing on that was okay. So, and we were trying to kidnap just about everybody in the team. You know, yeah, we were like, come on, you're riding back down with us. Come on, we're going to Zombieland. You know, that would have been awful if they'd have got stuck here. You know.
Yeah, they'd still be there with you.
That's all right. We got places for them to crash around here, man. We do. All right, so look, man, here we go. When we first started doing this, I sent you over my interview sheet, and yeah, we know how that went. You're not the only one though, Brent. A lot of people didn't want to fill out the interview sheet.
Hey,
I'm like,
I filled it out. It wasn't not wanting to fill it out. I filled it.
But you sent me a blank piece of paper,
right?
right?
A blank one.
Yeah. Okay. So you sent me a blank piece of paper.
It didn't save. It didn't save.
So some of the questions on there are things like, if there's anything that you want to promote, anything that's up and coming, we covered some of that stuff. And then there was questions about, who are you personally, and, tell us something about you that other people don't know. Being you didn't fill one out, I just had to do my own guessing. So, I kind of got a suspicion of who Mr. Lessard is. I'm not sure. So I'm going to put you through a series of questions, and I need you to answer these questions for me. Okay, so give me a second. Let's go to screen for a minute. All right, so
I love those colors.
Do you like those colors? See,
I knew it.
I knew it. See, look at that. Look at that. It's going to get dark from here, though, baby. Okay, so first question.
Yeah.
On Sunday morning driving, which car are you going to pick?
Definitely the Roger, right side.
Right side? Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay. Night on the town, which one are you wearing?
That's
is that a tough one?
It's got to be the leather.
You think the leather is more you? Okay. All right.
Is it more me, or what do I feel?
Yeah, what do you feel? I want to know what you feel. Okay, pick one of these movies as something that you would watch.
Oh, come on.
I don't know. You tell me.
The Lords.
The Lords of Flatbush. Have you seen that movie before?
I've not, but I've definitely seen that photo. Definitely.
Okay. All right, well, we're gonna have to get.
But I know how I feel about Mamma Mia. So.
Okay. All right. So look, I want you to look at these two pictures here, and you let me know, left side or right side, which one of these haircuts are you more likely to wear?
The pompadour.
You've done a pompadour before, is that correct?
Oh yeah. Yes.
I think I've seen that before.
Probably.
What about the flop?
The flop. The flop's what happens when I attempt a pompadour.
Okay. Not the covitis over here, huh? No. Okay.
Is there covitis?
There is a covitis down in the corner, man. The covitis. When I was a kid, we used to get a covitis. Okay, pick one.
Oh, Marlon Brando.
The Wild Ones. You ever seen it?
Oh, yeah.
What a movie, huh?
Yeah. It's been a while, though. I should definitely.
I think I should watch it again because that's a good motorcycle movie, man.
Yeah. So I'm actually in the middle of restoring this 1959 British bike.
What, a Norton?
It's an AJS.
Okay.
I think it was bought by Norton in the 70s. I think Norton bought them out in the 70s.
Real rare?
Well, In these parts, yes. My understanding in the UK, not so much.
Okay. Well, we know people in the UK if you need parts.
Yeah. Well, I do need parts.
hey, pick one, will you?
That's a toughie.
Are you more the bowling shirt or are you more the cardigan sweater kind of guy?
I would actually attempt both.
I think
I'd
you
like to
probably
think
would, yeah.
I'm more on the bowling shirt side.
What an awesome fucking beard that dude has, though. Huh?
Yeah.
Look at that thing. Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm working towards it. Okay.
You're there.
Here, I'm close.
You're there.
Here it goes. I think this might be one of the last ones. Do you own this clock? Tell the truth. Don't lie to me, man. Come on, tell the truth. You don't.
I don't.
Do you want that clock?
I do kind of want that clock now.
I think you do.
I do have one that is like, it's a vinyl, it looks like a 1950s rockabilly vinyl record made into a clock.
Oh, okay. All right. You know his legs.
Close, but
his legs swing like a pendulum.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, I think this might be the last one here. Oh, wait a minute. Can you name these two acts?
Okay, the right, definitely.
I figured as much.
The left.
Who's on the right for our listeners?
It's Stray Cats.
That is the Stray Cats. Can you name all three members?
No. I can not. So I know the drummer. I can't name his name, but I've watched. He had an instructional drumming series, like video, how to play drums standing up left-handed, something.
Oh, wow. Well, that's one.
Yeah, because he stands.
Oh, he spins around.
He stands when he plays the drums.
Oh, he stands up. He doesn't sit down. There's no chair.
Yeah, there's no seat at all. He's standing right in that.
Wow.
Picture.
Damn, I'm gonna have to do some YouTube videos on those guys, man.
Well, Brian Setzer's on the left.
On the bass, right? No, he's on the guitar.
He's on the guitar, yeah. I don't know who's on the bass.
Okay, what about the guys in the picture in the left?
Oh, so familiar.
Is that familiar?
It is familiar.
That would tell me a lot about your upbringing, at least. He hasn't been on TV in years and years and years, but it used to be a weekly variety show that, boy, I tell you, my grandparents, you better not be anywhere near the television when Lawrence Welk came on. That's who that is, Lawrence Welk. Yeah. And he said, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And he played polka music. Okay, this might be the last one right here. Okay, here it goes. Oh. Do I even have to ask?
No.
No, okay. So it's back to Lords of Flatbush. We're going to have to get you as a gift for being on rVoice, a copy of Lords of Flatbush. I'll take care of that and be sending that right out to you. And this must be. Okay, your role model is?
Henry Winkler.
You know who the other guy is, of course, right?
Unfortunately, I think everybody does.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, yeah, it would be the Fonz. So basically, yeah. I've come to the conclusion that you are a greaser. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say? Yeah, I thought so. Which is cool as hell, man. Trust me. Break out with the bowling shirt.
Yeah, it's that, that, I don't know, that like rockabilly, like the music, the aesthetic, the mentality. Yeah, I was big into that.
Did you actually like do the T-shirt with the pack of smokes rolled up and the pants legs rolled up and
I did
the long chain and
well, okay, so the cigarettes up the sleeve, I didn't, but not for not having tried.
Kind of hard
I
to
just
hold them
never
up there.
felt like I could pull it off. It didn't work.
It didn't work. Yeah.
Didn't look right.
Yeah.
Didn't feel right. So no.
No.
I did the roll-up jeans, you know, the leather boots.
Yeah, the long chain and
the chain was like a thing, you know, in the mid 90s, early to mid 90s. The chain had like a resurgence.
yeah, it's back. They're still doing it, you know.
Yeah.
And all the pinup girls and oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the lifestyle. Actually, I do. It's different. And what really? Okay, so this is how I put this together. This is how I figured it out, right? In the few times that we have actually been together, one time you wore some wicked pork chops, man. The sideburns. Yeah, you were rocking them too. And I was like, okay. And I could smell a little Vitalis in the air, you know, like some of so but then it's when you posted that video of your buddy singing "I'm Gonna Shoot My Baby."
Oh yeah, that was Nick Curran.
Nick Kern, yeah.
Yeah.
They did real well with that song too. That's that is a classic rockabilly song too.
Yeah, I love
really
that. Yeah, I think that's, you know, one of the major draws is like that music.
Yeah.
That kind of, I don't know, like I can't even describe it adequately. It like pulls that whole culture, that rockabilly, greaser culture, you know, because they had that. I feel like that was something that just gave them a little bit more, you know, the music that pulled everything together.
And now, would you consider yourself more rockabilly or more greaser? There is a difference.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's 1 foot. You know, 1 foot in one.
One in the other. Yeah, well, that's cool shit. You know, I mean, they commingle anyway. You know.
They definitely share a cultural border kind of thing. Yeah. I think I was young teens, like early teens, and we went to some like antique, you know, fair or something, and there were, you know, old cars, old motorcycles, that kind of stuff. It was like middle of the day. This is such a vivid memory for me. It was like middle of the day, and there was this 3-piece group, and they were called what were they called, like the Greaser Boys or something like that. And it was, you know, drum, guitar,
and bass,
stand-up bass. And they were just in the corner of this antique fair, like acoustic, you know, just pumping it out. And I'd never heard anything like that before.
Wow.
And I think I stopped there and I stayed there throughout their whole set. And then I went to them afterwards and I was like, this is amazing. What is this? I need to, you know, do you have any CDs or anything? And that just like set me down that
path.
It had such an impact on me. You know, like I must have been 14 or something, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you start, you know, seeing these classic movies from the 50s and the 60s. Right. And then seeing, you know, the music that rockabilly had kind of adopted, you know, itself from, going back 30s, 20s. Yeah, it was definitely a kind of life-altering experience crossing that acoustic band on that day in that antique fair. I don't even know why we were there, but
it was meant to be, man. You were supposed to be there that day. You know, it modeled you. How about that? And just think, when you're finished restoring his bike, Oh man, you'd be like, honey, where's that box? It's in the attic. You know, you gotta go up there and break out with your old leather and and throw on
I can't wait.
yeah, throw on your Converse high tops, some
So I
501
think
straight legs.
I got the bike I think 7 years ago or so, and it was kind of in dire state, needed a lot of help, and I've casually been rebuilding it. But yeah, I think I got it 7 years ago. That year or the year after I got married, and the year after that our first kid was born.
Yeah.
And so the work on the bike just slowed right down. Coincidentally, also, the last time I rode a motorcycle was the year before my daughter was born.
Now, you're out there working on this thing. How is your wife going to feel once it's done?
Yeah, it's super funny because I was speaking with a friend just last week, and I said, I'm so excited because the bike's basically done. There's a few other pieces, like it runs now. It needs a couple more things to kind of be road legal. But it runs and it functions right now. And she said, "Oh, that's awesome. How does Pam feel about you riding the bike?" And I said, "You know what? I never even thought about it." Never spoke with her. It just never crossed my mind.
Oh my! Oh god! You're gonna find out real soon.
I just became blinded by wanting to will this thing onto the road, right, and get it running. No, but I went that day. I went back to my wife and said, "Oh, Nina said this," and I realized we hadn't spoken about it or discussed anything. And she said, "Imagine you've had the bike for 7 years. You're working on it for 7 years, and it gets complete, and I tell you you can't ride it because I'm scared you might get hurt or something." She was like, "There's no way I would do that after you spending so much time and energy on it."
Oh well, that's good. At least she'll be supportive. She'll let you ride it a couple of times at least, but it's not gonna be your day driver, brother.
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, we had they say in motorcycles, they say there's two types of motorcyclists. Those who have been in accidents and those who will be in accidents.
Yeah.
Well, we were hit from behind. My wife and I, at the time, we weren't married, but we were hit from behind, and the bike was a write-off. It was a Triumph. I think it was a Triumph 800 or something. And anyways, I usually say, we had our accident.
So you're lucky. You already done it.
Yeah, we had it once. That means we won't have another. So
why don't you post on the Zombieland channel a couple of pictures of it?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. What color is it?
What if you know me? I went through this presentation slideshow with you. What color would you guess?
Aha. Well, let's see. Because it's a classic, you may have chose to go with the traditional classic colors. So if it was bought by Norton, it would probably be green with a chrome tank. But if I would paint it black, man, and put flames on it myself. That's what I would do.
It's black. Yeah.
It's black. Yeah, there you go. That's the way to roll, baby boy. Hey, chrome out the tank though, man. That's
it's black. Yeah, I'm thinking what to do with the tank.
I'm telling you, chrome, man.
I think they did make them in chrome.
Yeah, that used to be the thing back then. Especially on the smaller European bikes, man.
Yeah, this one's black and it's got like baby blue badges on either side. Like the AJS, the logo.
Right.
In a nice baby blue. And traditionally it would have like gold piping along the gas tank.
Along the tank, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see it, man. Throw up some pictures.
Yeah, I'll send you some photos.
Cool. Hey, well, Brent, man, I want to thank you very much, man. Hopefully this was comfortable and you had a good visit, man. We'll get together again. This is just the first of our voice talks, and we'll discuss a few other things. The Arrivo. We'll talk about glitch next time because that's something that I think everybody's going to want to know.
Yeah, I'd love to. There's actually a lot going on there that I'm super excited about. I wanted to thank you as well for being, such an amazing person generally, but also in terms of your support and passion for the rLoop community. rVoice was like totally driven by you. And, I can't wait to see more episodes and more, podcasts maybe that you might be working on.
Yeah, we need to get, I really want to see the rVoice for right now to be, mostly us getting to know the members that are the hardcore members that are in rLoop. I think that we need to encourage those that are out there that aren't watching it because, I'm only promoting on the, only on a few channels, Zombieland channel, the off-topic channels, trying to stay out of the hardcore channels with it. But, if you put a shout out and let people know, or, if we can do all blasts to all of the other members, that'd be great. Just to get people back in the fold and get them to watch it. And then we can start. I figure once we get maybe about 10 of these in a can, we can put them out on YouTube or something like that. We have to have substance before we can go out that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. And I think, it's good for everyone within rLoop to be able to, connect with other members, know a little bit about them. You're an amazing host for that.
I try.
You draw out the best in people, I find. But also I think people outside of rLoop as well, who want to know who is within this community, what do they look like? What do they think independently? And see themselves within the community and how they might fit in and get involved.
Yeah, it's putting a face on a worldwide community. So, other people see it and we'll stress the fact that anybody can be a member of rLoop. If you find something of interest that you would like to get involved in, it's as much participation as you want to put into it. And right now, during a lockdown, now's the perfect time, for people to actually, come in, visit, see what's going on, and and join. Let's get our membership back to, it's not that the membership necessarily fail. It's just, everybody has other things that they're doing too. We just have to remind them that we're still here and there's other projects going on. So, and any way I can help.
Yeah, it's hard in these times. I think, people have to think about their families first, keeping themselves safe. I know, a lot of people are struggling, financially as well, people losing jobs or decreased pay or hours or whatever the case might be.
That's for sure. That's for sure. We're going to be doing a Save Zombieland campaign real soon. Trust me.
Excellent.
So, yeah. We'll keep you posted on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, I think people have a lot more free time, generally.
That's the other side.
Yeah, but also, they're starting to get more familiar with like work from home, remote telecommuting technologies, like communication, video conferencing. Like I think everybody knows how to use Zoom now, or some equivalent of Zoom, and those are fundamentally the only tools you really need, to connect with other people, to work with them, to collaborate, to build cool stuff, to try and solve some of the challenges that we all face, regardless of where we may find ourselves on this beautiful planet of ours. So yeah, that's the flip side of it.
Yeah, and if you look at the silver lining within this storm of COVID, it's taken the fear factor out for a lot of people, because now people are actually doing this, you know, and if you can do this, then yeah, you can get involved. It's really not that difficult once you get past this point, you know. Now,
and if it's something that you might be, you know, familiar with, you know, if marketing's your thing and you're familiar with marketing, that doesn't mean that that's where you have to participate either. You know, a lot of people step outside their comfort zones. They participate and contribute, but at the same time, you know, they want to learn different things. They want to learn new skills. They want to be exposed to different, you know, functions or operations. And that's the opportunity that you have as well. You know, work with people who are familiar with those roles or responsibilities, learn new skills, upskill yourself, while contributing to a great cause and, you know, creating some really cool stuff.
Yeah. And changing the world. And it's free of charge.
Absolutely free.
And it's free of charge. So, all right. Well, my brother, I want to thank you very much, man. We're going to go ahead and conclude this one, man. I thank you for staying up late for me. I do appreciate it too, man. So,
of course. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You take care, man. All right, brother. Love you, man. We're out.
Likewise. Love you too.
Toodle pips.